to master Jermaine's unique technique, a combination of traditional African dance styles and contemporary movement. Her impact is inspirational, her vision helping to redefine the place of African dance on the world stage. And this relentless drive and ambition will no doubt see her continue to work for many years to come.
International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening, I'm Maggie Forciero. In the news tonight, Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare launches 16 days of activism against GBV. Ex-President Pohamba is not worthy of the Mo Ibrahim Prize, says LPM. Commercial employees hold peaceful demonstration due to outstanding payments. Miss Namibia arrives in Israel to represent the country at Miss Universe. Retired cleaners' hard work and love for gardening pays off. And Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. Gender-based violence is perpetrated by people like all of us here, the men in uniform, the women in uniform, and those in civilian clothes. It's not somebody that comes from another planet and commits the crime. It's somebody and people amongst us. These were the remarks of a GBV perpetrator serving a 35-year prison term at the launch of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
I stand here before you as a different man, a man that regrettably committed the crime of gender-based violence and have been afforded second chance by Namibian Correctional Service to be rehabilitated. My name is Rachimo Karatweb, currently serving 35 years. That was imposed on me in 2006. I underwent various programs at Namibian Correctional Service, namely Alternative to Violence and Thinking and Living Skills. I was taught to become more reflective rather than reactive and more anticipatory in my response to potential problems. It is really heartbreaking to frequently read in the newspapers about violence against women, although it is not only women who suffer from gender-based violence. Men too fall victim to this violence. The time has come for all well-meaning and responsible Namibian people from all walks of life like to wake up and find a way to stop the increasing murder of our women.
Rachimo made the remarks at the launch of the 16 days of activism against GBV campaign by the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare where he called for the root causes of GBV to be addressed, proposing the introduction of GBV lectures at all educational institutions. Lifeline Childline Namibia encouraged collaboration of civil society, NGOs and faith-based entities to build resilience in communities.
An activist in Africa once said, when you find there's a gap between decision makers and what happens at the grassroots level, we encourage the conversation to happen so that decision makers actually know what the victims are going through. Whilst the response against these type of human rights violations are slowed down by various factors, some skewed sentiments of lawmakers manifested in personal convictions, attitudes and firm beliefs in our upbringing and cultural norms, these represent strongholds that stand in the way of our national agenda, hindering the advancement of the cause against GBV.
Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare at the occasion called for the strengthening of GBV watch movements in communities, further expressing concern over the increase of rape cases involving children this year.
Consumption of alcohol and substance abuse have been identified as some of the contributing factors to GBV. Statistics shows that most rape committed in domestic settings are linked to alcohol and substance abuse. The number of rape cases due to alcohol consumption increased from 51 in 2019 to 2020 financial year to 60 cases in 2020 and 21 financial year. There's an increase there. Statistics also indicated that assault cases in domestic settings are fueled by alcohol abuse. The number of reported cases of domestic violence in 2019 and 2020 were as high as 1,309 cases. However, during 2020-2021, 300 cases of domestic violence were reported. We should not rejoice.
The Namibian police has implemented the GBV action plan launched this year, outlining strategies to be implemented by the force based on 4 pillars, namely GBV operations, awareness raising, capacity building, and clearance of backlog cases.
Gender-based violence against women and children is one of the most widespread, persistent human rights violations in the country. Whether it is intimate partner violence, sexual violence, trafficking or harassment, GBV prevents victims from reaching full potential. GBV is also an hindrance to the attainment of gender equality and the realization of social, economic, and security and safety goals, as it erodes the confidence of survivors that they can contribute to the overall national development efforts.
Dear teachers, we know all the hard work you put in every day to make sure our kids get the best education possible. It's also our goal here at One Africa TV's #LearnOn1. That's why we bring free quality supplementary lessons that are 100% Namibian, complements of NMH's MyZone. Lessons include early childhood development programs and primary school lessons. These air on One Africa TV every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Nationalist People's Movement feels the former President Hifikepunye Pohamba is not worthy of the Mo Ibrahim Award, which he obtained in 2015. The party made this statement at a media briefing where they shared their stance on the eviction of an elderly couple from a farm allegedly owned by the former president.
We are at from
The LPM expressed their disappointment in the former head of state Hifikepunye Pohamba for allegedly evicting an elderly couple from his farm recently. The party says the act was heartless, especially from someone who received the Mo Ibrahim Prize for his outstanding performance as president of Namibia in 2015.
You can't evict people without offering them an alternative solution or place to stay. They are not dogs, for God's sake, or jackals. How do you take the little that they have and throw the people on a gravel road? And this coming from somebody who called himself a president of this country. This is shameful. Shame on Hifikepunye Pohamba.
Faceb says the African Union and United Nations must hear of this to know how cruel and ugly African leaders are.
In fact, this matter must go to AU, African Union. It must go to the attention of the Secretary General of the United Nations, so that the world can see how ugly and cruel Namibian so-called leaders can be. These people, some of them, they were born on that farm. This couple have been living there for over 17 years, before even Pohamba bought the farm. Now he has an audacity to come and evict. Where will these people go?
The evictees have nowhere to take their close to 100 livestock. LPM's Utara Mutu condemns the action by the former president and demands that his Mo Ibrahim title be removed.
That he must be stripped of this title. You cannot be a leader that is praised on world stages, and you have now become at night the criminal that is now taking away the better livelihoods of people that they managed to get for themselves. In fact, when the Honorable Deputy Leader was stating how many cattle they were having, I was actually shocked. So this president being able to be praised at SWAPO rallies, being praised as national heroes, people who have liberated us, but now have become people who are stripping people from the rights to life, a right to quality of life.
The LPM feels marginalized communities in Namibia are being taken advantage of. The evictees and their livestock of close to 100 are currently stranded just outside Gwina's Pass.
This is where the old people are finally settled alongside the road.
Employees at Commersal Grey City held a peaceful demonstration due to outstanding payments. They further claim that some employees have been retrenched unfairly after sustaining injuries, while some who were retrenched last year are yet to get paid.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Employees at Commersal Grey City held a peaceful demonstration due to outstanding payments. They further claim that some employees have been retrenched unfairly after sustaining injuries, while some who were retrenched last year are yet to get paid.
All we want is payments to be settled, because we have been receiving SMSs every day is tomorrow, every day is tomorrow. Like for me, I left in August. Today is November. So every day is tomorrow and tomorrow. And regarding contracts, it's not as if he doesn't know that people need to sign contracts. I was actually the one in charge of contracts. So the contracts were already in place, everything was done, but he kept on prolonging the process for whatever reason that he has. So people do not have contracts, they don't know what the terms and conditions are. You can do something, you are deducted, you don't even know how and why. So it's really just frustrating. And for us that left, we just want our money, nothing more. We want to live in peace, and that's basically it.
Two people that are also injured, and then they were only given a taxi money for that day when they got injured on at the workplace to go to the hospital that day. But they keep on going to the hospital for checkup and undressing, but they have no money, and they have to be deducted those days that are going to be like sitting at home, and they are not paid. Instead, he retrenched them.
August Beker, a community activist representing the workers, says they had a meeting with the employer last week and they agreed on receiving payments for the employees this week. But up to date, nothing has been done.
We were called, we had a meeting last week with the owner of the premises. We discussed and we ironed out a couple of complications which were there. He promised that everybody which was not paid and everybody whose salaries were outstanding would be paid on the Thursday, which was yesterday, on the 25th, as that is the salary, the payday of these employees. Arriving now yesterday, they received some SMSs which they were told that, no, you can come collect your salary tomorrow, which is today. So they called us up, they said, guys, come help us, let's go discuss that. We came here, we come together in gratitude with these people. This is not a demonstration, this is just a sign of maturity in Namibia. We cannot have this in Namibia. 31 years of independence, 30 years of independence. The labor industry is failing our people.
Approached by Today on One, the employer only commented, "We have agreed to pay," end of quote.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Oranienmund, established in 1936, from which point onward CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranienmund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Jao III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
One Africa TV, happy birthday to you. Just sending a great, big, humongous thank you for the content that you give us, for the local authenticness of seeing our own very own faces on TV. Most we are within. And more than anything, always making sure that, you know, you share with us and with the world, the royal hustlers, the ones that made it, and we drink from their well. And that more than anything is what I really, really appreciate about One Africa TV. So happy 18th birthday. You're finally legal now. Happy birthday to you, and many more to come.
Nothing is too good for my daughter. Now here's the deal, Nambi. There's no playing around with other boys before your wedding. Do you understand me? It's the most important day of your life.
Nambi, baby, you have a face like a beautiful person. I got you this Virgin Mary necklace to protect your innocence.
Stupid man. We have loved each other since high school, and now you want to turn your back on me? All the plans we made, you just throw them away? And you want Nambi now? When I've always been there for you, Ziwa, do you understand? And she doesn't even love you. I've wasted my time on someone like you.
Don't be like that, Jalia.
Love, everybody needs it. Love.
Namibia's very own Chelsea Shikongo arrived in Israel to represent the land of the brave at the Miss Universe pageant taking place next week in the city of Eilat, south of Israel. Today on One caught up with her at Hosea Kotaka International Airport before she took off.
Chelsea Shikongo was crowned as Miss Namibia on the 7th of June 2021 at Windu Country Club. Days before taking off for the most prestigious pageant, news broke that travel restrictions imposed by the host country might hinder her road to the event. However, on Sunday the 28th of November, we caught up with an excited Chelsea as the beauty queen embarked on her journey.
I feel amazing. Yes, I'm finally going. I never really lost hope. I just thought of other ways that might interfere, or I might have to take another route, or something else might happen. But I didn't think that I wouldn't be going, and I'm so excited just to represent Namibia on an international stage.
Chelsea left in an outfit inspired by her role model and former Miss Universe winner, the late Chelsea Pearl, after whom she is named. She expressed excitement, describing the opportunity as a dream come true.
I'm obviously going to scream first, probably cry, probably be like, wow, am I really here? And just be so excited to meet the other girls in the organization and to take part in the competition. I think it's a one chance in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. The fact that I was named after a Miss Universe title holder, that's already a fact in itself. But also I've worked really hard to get to where I am today, and I think everything about me is unique and it's deserving to be seen on that stage.
The Namibian nation will be backing the 24-year-old as she takes the stage on the 12th of December in Israel.
After working for years as a cleaner, Siseho Namasiko was forced to retire early due to her health and decided to settle near the Lusese area in Katima Malilo and continue her passion for gardening.
Time, love, and ambition were among the three ingredients Siseso Namasuko used to invest in her garden, which turned out to be a successful agriculture business in her village. Namasuko started to grow vegetables in 1984, but only to provide food for her family. She fell in love with gardening, but had to stop due to her working hours. In 2018, Namasuko could not proceed with a full-time job due to health issues and had to retire early. This gave her a chance to pay attention to her gardening.
My name is Siseho Ellen and I have a farm in Kongola village. I started with this garden way back in 1984 at the place where I used to work. I started a number of gardens, but the owner of the land and the community had a problem with me using up the space. I used to follow my husband to his workplace, and that is where I learned more about gardening. Because of my health condition, I had to retire as a domestic worker very early, but now I'm able to focus more on my garden. I started with cabbages, and during June and July, I usually have a garden full of vegetables, and now we produce crops such as maize as well. This side you'll find oranges, mangoes, and bananas at the village.
Namasuko has since turned her gardening into a business, producing fresh fruits and vegetables, which she sells to the local market in her village.
We don't have a problem with our market. We transport our produce to the markets in the village and to the schools by ourselves. Our stock is bought so quickly, after 2 hours they will communicate to notify us that the tomatoes are finished and we have to deliver more.
Her husband, Martin Shaibolo, took us on a tour through her orchard. There are 140 fruit trees, which include, amongst others, mangoes, orange, and lemons.
First 3. Thereafter, I extended with the first 3 which are in the garden. Later, I managed to plant the other ones. 2 years back now, we planted about 40 something on the other side, and the other side of the courtyard.
Joseph Parkman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, And the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. That's right. Well, there's a lot of negative voices out there. As we
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you pray over it and you think about it. And sometimes you just, a lot of times I'll just envision, as you and I are talking here today, I may envision that I'm here talking with God. And how am I supposed to address this issue?
Okay? Realize Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same for you right now. So let's pray. Let's call on his name and let him do the rest for you. Let's pray.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
In other leading stories, the Empowered to Adapt, Creating Climate Change, Resilient Livelihoods Through Community-Based Natural Resources in Namibia project officially handed over 16 completed projects. The Green Climate Fund, through the Environment Investment Fund of Namibia's Empowered to Adapt, Creating Climate Change, Resilient Livelihoods Through Community-Based Natural Resources Management in Namibia project grant facility financed 31 grant projects to gazetted community forests and communal conservancies in 12 of the 14 regions of Namibia. The funded projects have to date contributed towards empowering rural CBNRM communities in Namibia by increasing their resilience to adverse impacts of climate change, such as protracted droughts, increased flood events, reduced crop production, and livestock losses. Additionally, the interventions implemented by the projects are directly contributing towards the realization of Namibia's obligations to national and international climate change goals, objectives, and frameworks. Speaking at the event, Honorable Minister of Finance Ipumbu Shimi said the impacts achieved to date on initiatives such as this, which are geared towards the adaptation to climate change shocks and stresses within communal areas of Namibia, are commendable. The 16 projects, valued at 66 million Namibia dollars, were awarded to the communities located in Otjozanjupa, Omusati, Ochikoto, Kunene, Kavango East and West, Zambezi, Erongo and Karas regions. These self-determined community climate change adaptation interventions are aimed at improving livelihoods through provision of water rehabilitated infrastructures, fire management, renewable energy and energy efficiency, poultry farming, livestock breeding scheme, bush to feed, hydroponics for horticulture and fodder production systems, and a flood relief center with supporting facilities such as a boat and an early warning system. These community projects have benefited a total of 50,000 beneficiaries, provided more than 3,000 green jobs, and an area of more than 5.5 million hectares of ecosystems have been strengthened, restored, and are protected from climate variability and change.
Early this morning, woke up holding my head, hearing my heartbeat all night long. Shades of this motel keeping me in bed, reading the news, just trying to stay strong. I need to just get up, take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day. Sun on my face, feeling okay. Don't let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day.
was a silence that connected us all. But the journey started long before that day.
Coach has a gift to be able to spot talent a mile away.
I think the family kind of feeling makes the athletes feel like they want to perform for him.
This is a match made in heaven. We just become one. When there was difficult times, I said to the girls, we didn't do all this just for one lump to take us off track. We started talking about this journey, and the way we actually painted that journey is almost perfectly the way it ended.
We thought that maybe one of them will make the finals, both of them made the finals, and the rest is history.
Quiet broken by the firing of the gun, and they're off.
And here comes Christine Bomber in second place. Will they do it today? Oh, of course! 21-81.
This one belongs to us all as one.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap? Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for this evening's edition of Business on One.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. Namibia continues to import over half of its power needs as its energy sector is unable to generate sufficient energy for domestic use. The National Integrated Resource Plan that was first drafted a decade ago is expected to be the country's roadmap toward energy security through indigenous sources. Speaking at the Namibia Renewable Energy Business Summit held in Dubai, Minister of Mines and Energy Tom Alwendo said in his statement delivered virtually that the National Integrated Resource Plan envisages that by 2028, 80% of primary energy used will be generated locally.
It is a long-term plan that guides the development of the electricity generation industry by providing supply scenarios to meet projected demand. The plan was drafted in 2013, reviewed in 2016, and it is currently undergoing another review that is expected to be finalized early 2022. The plan maps out the country's least cost electricity supply path into the future and includes an energy mix that optimizes Namibia's goal to become energy self-sufficient by using, as far as the network allows, indigenous renewable energy sources in the form of wind, solar PV, and biomass. We will do so while also ensuring base load generation options and storage to ensure stability and security of supply.
Alwendo also welcomed Hyphen Hydrogen Energy, the company that was awarded the bid to build a green hydrogen plant in Namibia. The project is projected to generate over $60 billion once complete after 2 to 3 years.
We look forward to work together with Hyphen to realize our goal of becoming a green hydrogen hub. Given the size of the available renewable energy resources in the country, it is our intention to explore the idea of seeking other potential investors to collaborate with us. As to the global market for green hydrogen, there is now a global consensus that green hydrogen is the fuel for the future. According to a preliminary study that was done by the World Bank with regards to green hydrogen market, Namibia could produce highly competitive green hydrogen. And with limited local demand, exports will be key to our green hydrogen strategy.
The summit was attended by renewable energy developers and operators to share insight on Namibia's electricity market, regulatory environment and role of independent power producers within the power grid and generation network. That is all we have for you. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on the business front.
It was the silence that connected us all. But the journey started long before that day.
Coach has a gift to be able to spot talent a mile away.
I think the family kind of feeling makes the athletes feel like they want to perform for him.
This is a match made in heaven. We just become one. There was difficult times. I said to the girls, we didn't do all this just for one lump to take us off track. We started talking about this journey, and the way we actually painted that journey is almost perfectly the way it ended.
We thought that maybe one of them will make the finals, both of them made the finals, then the rest is history.
Quiet broken by the firing of the gun, and they're off.
And here comes Christine Bomber in second place. Will they do it today? Oh, of course! 21-81.
This one belongs to us all as one.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The city of Windhoek owes the government of Namibia 712 million Namibia dollars in loans acquired over the years for infrastructure development. In efforts to deal with this liability, the city says the council is now engaging the government to swap the debt for land. Chicago says the city must put up government infrastructure, including offices, and stop spending millions on rentals. Glenys says she is tired of hearing the words millions of dollars in Namibia the past weeks. Christopher notes that if a Namibian apply for land identified, the city says it should first be auctioned off. While Brenda wants to know what happened to the payments made by the city. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast only on Today on One. And on the sports front, a total of 7 records were broken this weekend as 135 swimmers aged 7 to 67 years took part in the Bank Windhoek Long Course Gala finals. The event, sponsored by Bank Windhoek and hosted by the Namibia Swimming Federation, saw swimmers from Aqua Swimming and Fitness, Dolphin Swimming Club, Marlins Aquatic Club and Phoenix Swimming Academy showing some great performances.
Swimming is actually quite hard to do when you're a beginner. It's quite nice, but I'm tired right now. Very tired, but if you put on your efforts, it's worth it.
The reason why I took up swimming because it was like an interesting sport that I really wanted to do, and I really enjoyed it.
I think it was pretty fun, and I'm pretty happy for my results. I think try to keep your momentum and just keep on going the whole time.
Jury Bardenos, the Vice President of NASFED, spoke about the gala, its successes, and swimming as a whole in Namibia.
This is the third of 5 and the last one for 2021. We are none of this would at all be possible without the support of Bank Windhoek. He's been such a great supporter of swimming for many a year, and I think we are very appreciative of that. After this, the season comes to an end, swimmers will go into holidays, hopefully keep on training, and then next year we will start with 2 more long course galas, and we'll have our long course nationals in March. I think swimming is doing very well, all things considered. I mean, we all know about what we've gone through in the last year and a half, or 2 years almost now. But that having been said, I think we've got a great management in our clubs. We've got great members. There's some real talent out there currently. We have various swimmers overseas, youngsters coming through. The federation is doing well. So I don't think we can complain. Obviously, sponsorships remain a challenge, but I think that's par for the course in all sporting federations.
NASFED's President Eileen Botha was pleased with the turnout and the competitive spirit of the young and old swimmers. The next Bank Windhoek Long Course Gala will take place in January 2022.
Now a look at the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. The interior will be sunny and hot to very hot in the south. Elsewhere, partly cloudy and hot to very hot, with a few isolated thunder showers in the north and the east. A fresh westerly wind in the interior. The coast will be partly cloudy and cool to warm. The wind will be moderate to fresh, southerly to southwesterly. Now let's have a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
That is all we have for you. You can join us again for a repeated 9:30, 6 a.m. and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 to 2. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future. A hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 has changed since the pandemic started. So does this mean the virus has become more dangerous? Scientists have discovered thousands of mutations to the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Most mutations only lead to small changes, but scientists believe one, called D614G, may have made it easier for the virus to infect human cells. This mutation most likely emerged after the initial outbreak in China, and it spread fast after the virus arrived in Europe. By the end of June, the D614G mutation was found in almost all samples of the virus worldwide. Scientists believe this is due to amino acid changes in the virus's spike proteins, improving its ability to infect human cells. Some studies have found more spikes on viruses with this mutation. These spikes latch onto receptors on the surface of our cells. They then transfer the virus's genetic material, called RNA, inside. Being inside the host cell allows the virus to make many copies of itself. Random errors sometimes happen in the copying process, which cause mutations. Although the full effects of D614G are still unclear, some studies suggest that the mutated virus might be more transmissible than the original. This could mean more people getting sick and at a faster rate. Despite this, there isn't any evidence that the disease itself has become more severe. Scientists are worried about mutations possibly increasing the risk of reinfection. Hong Kong reported what could be the first case of virus reinfection on the 24th of August. A healthy man in his 30s is thought to have caught the virus again 4.5 months after he first got sick. During this time, mutations developed and new variants of the virus emerged. Some experts believe these changes may have made reinfections more likely. Mutations are common over the course of a pandemic. New flu vaccines are needed every winter to keep up with genetic changes to the flu virus. If a coronavirus vaccine is found, it could require regular booster jabs. Mutations won't happen overnight, and the coronavirus is mutating slower than the flu virus. But it's important for scientists to keep a close eye on how the virus changes over time. Could we be hearing more about other mutations in the future?
Mama! Away!
a corner of southern Africa lies a vast and sparse land, where endless horizons, dramatic scenery, and untouched wilderness abound. (1,500 kilometers of harsh desert coastline, a mosaic of biodiversity, sub-Saharan savanna, acacia bushland, encased by 2 deserts. Home to wildlife and wilderness abundant, yet ever at risk. This is Namibia, home to some of the most noteworthy conservation success stories across the globe. Initiatives forged, manned, and driven by passionate individuals and groups.
People are busy there walking for more than 45 kilometers a day.
Special species and wild locations under constant threat from an increasingly destructive developing world.
One of the world's true survivors.
This is the story of the Namibian wilderness, the stories of the enigmatic wildlife and natural wonders of her realm.
They are not a threat to anyone, if you understand them.
This is the story of those determined to preserve it, and thereby themselves.
Don't think I want to tell my children one day that we had rhinos in Namibia. I want to show them live rhinos.
This is the story of the last defenders.
We have been tracking them for about 7 days, and on the 7th day, we come across the butchers, and there was a shooting. We are not armed. We having a camera and GPS. We are just hiding behind the bushes. If I don't protect this species, who's gonna do that? So is that why I sacrificed my life to go on conserve the rhinos.
Armed out in the field with basically a notebook against poachers that are armed with highly dangerous weapons and more. How is this an equal fight?
I started right on the ground as a tracker, and I worked all the way up to be the CEO now, and I know how hard it is. It's commitment and dedication and the patience that you have for the animal. It's really hard. It's like you had something in your house that you are protecting for so long, and when you go away from home, somebody comes and kills you.
We know the world is a crazy place right now, but don't panic. Take a breath, slow down, or better yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore, revive, restart. We're saving ourselves and we're saving the world. Stay home now so that we can welcome you to Namibia again soon. Yes, the world's a crazy place right now, but don't despair. Find the joy, cherish hope, breathe. Take a moment, take a few, and someday soon you'll once again be able to stay in wonder at this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler, and I'm here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. In this session, we will be doing seated chair stretches. Remember that this is a demonstration video, so take your time. These stretches are really beneficial because we spend so much time sitting with bad posture. So let's get started. First, bring yourself to the edge of your chair, ideally not a high chair or one with wheels. Okay, we want to make sure that the hips are aligned with the knees and the ankles and that your spine is upright. Take a nice inhale, open up the chest, exhale, release back. Inhale, open up the chest, exhale, release back, just to create mobility in your spine. And now we're going to go for a spinal twist. Inhale, twist, one arm goes by the opposite knee, and exhale. You can rest your arm on the backrest, or if you don't have one, just behind you. Come back. Inhale, exhale, twist. Do a couple more as you please. From here, we're going to lean forward to stretch the entire back and spinal vertebrae. You can use a pillow right here to make it more comfortable. If you wish, you can add some tapping on the neck. Come back up. If you do some tapping, make sure you give enough pressure. When we come up, we bring the right leg up, cross it over the